Hey, sweetness. You look cozy over there. Mind if I join you? No, I promise I will keep my cold toes to myself. Cold fingers, I make no such promises. Alright, just so you know what you're getting into. Scoot just a little bit. There you go. Get all cozy with you here. You know, it's a little weird. Well, for most people, this would be a really nice way to end the day. But because of me and my allergy to the sun, this is how I start my day. It's just a little odd. That's all I'm saying. But I would love to start every day just like this. Well, every night, day, whatever you want to call it. Look, there is something I wanted to talk to you about. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. You know, it's just, I've been thinking. I know, I try not to. I try not to think as much as I possibly can, but sometimes it's an accident. Shut up. All right. No, I was just thinking it can't be easy dating, dating a vampire. Well, no, what I mean is that we can only go out at night. And I know that, traditionally dates happen more in the evening than during the daytime, but I know that you've had to turn down stuff with your friends or make excuses about me being out of town on business or having obligations that kept me from joining. And it's just, it's probably pretty hard to not get to be a normal couple in that sense. And then there's, that we can, when we go out with our friends, we can never get pictures taken as a group. Or pictures of me ever, right? Because, well, it would look a little bit weird to have this gap in the middle of the group. And I think someone would probably notice, oh, I thought he was in that picture. Why isn't he there? And, when they start to realize that that's the case with all pictures, that could be a little bit embarrassing. And, threatening with wood stakes and crucifixes and all of that. And, then there was that whole thing with having a pet wolf instead of a dog. Right? Well, because, it's like I explained. Wolves listen to me. Dogs, they don't. I get no special treatment from a dog. Wolves, I can get him to do whatever I want him to do. So, while I know you would prefer to have a corgi, I don't know. It just. I guess what I'm getting at is, if it's too hard, I understand. And I love you and I don't want you to feel trapped. So I know I'm supposed to be this evil creature of darkness and do horrible things to people. But if it's too hard, then I understand, and I won't do anything to try to stop you or to bring any harm to you in any way. Okay. All right. Well, I guess, I was just a little self-conscious is all. I don't know. Just Well, that's why I should stop thinking, right? Because I get myself into these kind of traps. I know that the stereotype is vampire, cool, confident, but people kind of don't realize that once a dork, always a dork. I mean, even after you get turned, I was Mr. Dorkiness 600 years ago, and I am Mr. Dorkiness now. Mr. Vampire Dorkiness. No, don't worry about it. I'll go see who it is. Hey. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. And I really appreciate you taking such good care of it. All right, you have a good night. Okay. What? No, I'm giddy. Vampires are allowed to be giddy. I'd like to see you stop me. Don't push. You know what? Piss me off and we're going to have 2 pet wolves. No. Okay, shut up. I'm so excited. I got to share this surprise with you. And so, sit down, shut up, and don't ruin my moment. Because I did something for you and it's pretty awesome. Okay. Remember the whole picture thing? Of course you do, because that was like 3 minutes ago. So I got thinking like a few months ago about all this stuff, and I felt bad because you can't get any pictures, and I know everybody's got like pictures of their boyfriends and girlfriends, whatever, on their cell phones and their lock screens and all this, and I felt really bad that you didn't have anything like that. So I remembered there was a portrait drawn of me about 600 years ago, like right before I got turned, like within days. And I thought if I could get that and give it to you, then you could take pictures of that. Or, just look at it or whatever. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do with it. But anyway, I wasn't sure if it still existed or who might have it at this point. So, yeah, remember how I went out of town on business like 3 months ago? Yeah, I wasn't really on business. I went back to the castle where I was born to see if the portrait was still there. And, yeah, I got 0 leads on that. It was a fruitless endeavor, and put it that way. When I got home, I talked to a few of my friends, and I told them about the trip and how I really wanted to find that portrait and I couldn't, and they referred me to a woman named Lola. And Lola, it turns out, is a vampire detective. Like, no, I mean, she's not a detective who's a vampire, because we know there's plenty of those. No, she's a detective who specializes in finding vampire portraits. Because apparently that's a big thing now, that vampires are trying to get their old portraits to give to their significant others. Right, I had no idea this was a thing. So I hired Lola and sent her off to find the portrait, and it took her about a month, but she found it. You're never going to guess where. Well, it was in an art gallery, yeah. It was in the National Art Gallery, whatever they call it, of Russia. I know, who would have expected it to turn up in the Russian National Art Gallery? Anyway, Lola just finds them. She doesn't acquire them. And yeah, you remember the news from a few months back about the portrait in Russia that was seen on security cameras walking itself out of the gallery? They're calling it the Great Russian Portrait Heist. Well, I didn't think I was going to make international television like that. They're doing what? A film? I'm really torn now because I feel like I should go ask for royalties, but that might not end well. Anyway, well, it was a little bit too much of a temptation. You know, when you can't be seen by the security cameras, they're really lucky that more vampires don't turn to crime. Because we could do pretty much whatever we wanted. Or get our wolves to do it for us. So anyway, no, I did not steal it. Well, I took it down out of the gallery and tucked it under my arm and walked out. It's not stealing. It's only stealing if it doesn't belong to me. Technically, that portrait was still mine. No, it was removed from the castle. Right. Well, it's not my fault they don't assume people live for 600 years. Apparently, that's not a safe assumption to make. Anyway, once I had it out of the gallery, I had to figure out how to get it back home, right? Because I couldn't just pack it in my carry-on and take it through customs. Well, Lola had told me about a vampire delivery service. Which, again, like the whole vampire detective thing, they don't actually deliver vampires. But they deliver things for vampires, right? So apparently because getting these portraits back and getting them home is such a big thing these days, they have, it's like UPS for vampires. Pretty cool, huh? So that's who was at the door. And that box has a portrait of me as a young man dressed up fancy. Okay, not fancy. Pretty pedestrian for the time. But fancy for now. And it's yours. I know, it doesn't look like I've aged a day, right? That is a nice thing about being turned about a week later. So, do you like it? You do? Hooray. I'm just excited. Okay, well, that's enough of that. Let's get back to snuggling.